Good morning, everybody. My name is Pilar Herrón, and I'm going to talk to you today about a USAID-funded initiative that promoted community-based management of fisheries resources in the Colombian Pacific coast. Myself and my co-authors, we worked for the BioRed program from 2012 to 2015. A little bit of background, the coastal Pacific coast of Colombia is inhabited mainly by Afro-descendant communities that collectively owned their ancestral lands, thanks to the Law 70 of 1993. Unfortunately, these collective rights of the territories don't include the marine areas and the fishing grounds they use. And unfortunately also, like the rest of the country, the fisheries management is relatively weak and poor because of limited fundings by the national government authority. And there are many threats to fisheries resources from the fisheries activities themselves, but also from climate change and different kinds of pollution. Our approach was based on a participatory process that began from the onset of the projects, from the projects planning themselves. Community were involved in the planning of the objectives and the methodologies, and they were the ones implementing the projects. And we carried out workshops at the local communities or in the nearest city, Buenaventura, constantly with community leaders, fishers, and black conch collectors, which is a kind of mollusk in the mangrove called locally known as piangua. And we also foster several alliances with key stakeholders and the communities. We work mainly in the central part of the Pacific coast of Colombia, near the city port of Buenaventura, as I mentioned, with a total of 10 community councils. Community councils is the legal name of this collective land that they own, the black communities. And 4 of those 10 councils are in the buffer zone of a national protected area, the Natural Park Bahia Malaga. And the process was developed between 2013 and 2014. Some of the key outcomes are 5 signed community agreements that promoted sustainable fishing in the communities. These agreements included 465 people that took part of the process, between fishers that are mainly men in the communities, and also the women that do the black conch, the piangua collection in the mangroves. These people come from 33 coastal villages, and we estimated that at the end, approximately 75,000 hectares of mangrove and marine ecosystems were impacted by these agreements. Some of the content of the agreements were zoning schemes in some of the communities where not all of the agreements were the same. Each community has like independence on their own agreements. So some of them had zoning schemes or rotation of the extraction sites, minimum sizes regulations, or restriction of fishing gears. Also, a very innovative aspect of the agreements was the link in some of the communities to new markets that were paying more to the fishers for fisheries resources that were caught under the agreements that respected the best fishing practices. So it was really good for them to start selling their fishes in a better price. At the end of the process, we identified several challenges for the successful implementation in the future of the agreements. Some of these challenges are related to the low local capacities in these communities because of the low levels of education and some economic constraints that they face, and the need they had of continued external support. But mainly because of the lack of government support we experienced during the process and the lack of interest to continue helping them to implement these agreements. Also, social conflicts and the armed conflict in Colombia, because although we are in the peace process, in the peace post phase of the peace process, we still have some armed conflicts and armed groups in the Pacific region. So this is still also a challenge for the communities and for people that want to work there. Finally, I want to thank all the fishers, the piangua collectors, the communities in general for their support and their interest throughout the process, to the BioRed program of USAID, to the community councils leaders, the boards, the fisheries coordinators at each project, and the RUFOR Foundation and the Ecomaris Foundation for the funding to come to the Congress. Thank you.